A reader recently asked me this question, and it echoes what I hear from so many of you who feel you've already tried everything. Blackout curtains, caffeine curfew, limited screens. Some nights I sleep fine, but then suddenly I'm back to waking up at 3 a.m., exhausted the next day. Why can't I just stay asleep through the night? They'd done all the right things. But the problem wasn't their habits. It's whether their body has the chemistry to actually respond to those routines. And that's where most explanations fall short. You've probably heard advice like, turkey makes you sleepy. It points in the right direction, but it also shows how much common sleep advice oversimplifies the biology. So what's missing? Let's break it down. Turkey, tryptophan, and the limits of piecemeal sleep advice. Consider the classic example. Eat turkey before bed to help you sleep. The reasoning is tidy and biochemically grounded. Turkey contains tryptophan. Tryptophan is converted into serotonin. Serotonin is then converted into melatonin. And melatonin regulates sleep initiation. On paper, this looks like a clear chain of cause and effect. But it's incomplete. Every step in that pathway requires specific cofactors and enzymes. Magnesium stabilizes certain enzymatic reactions. Iron and B vitamins are required for conversion. Enzymes themselves are only fully active when metabolic conditions allow. Without those elements in place, tryptophan does not reliably become melatonin. And on top of that, melatonin itself is not the only compound that governs sleep. Dozens of other signals shape the architecture of sleep. Some initiate it, others maintain stability through the night, and still others drive repair and recovery while you rest. These include neurotransmitters, hormones, metabolic regulators, and immune mediators, each contributing to a different layer of the process. Which leads us to the next layer. Every one of these signals has its own raw material and cofactor requirements. Just as melatonin synthesis stalls without the nutrients it depends on, other sleep-regulating pathways falter if their ingredients are absent. A single deficiency or insufficiency is enough to weaken the entire structure of sleep, even when all other conditions seem optimal. The turkey example is useful not because turkey itself resolves sleep, but because it illustrates the limitations of single-tip explanations when removed from the broader biochemical and neural framework of sleep. Each sleep tip you may have followed represents only a fragment of one pathway within the far more complex neural network that regulates sleep. Sleep as a biochemical system, the chemical foundation sleep requires. This brings us to the broader point. Sleep depends on an orchestrated biochemical foundation that an isolated tip cannot address. In practical terms, the body requires 3 categories of materials to run its sleep machinery. Base materials, the essential building blocks, often amino acids and fatty acids, that must come from food because the body cannot synthesize them. Cofactors, vitamins and minerals that activate enzymes, enabling those building blocks to be converted into active neurotransmitters and hormones. Regulatory compounds, signaling molecules and anti-inflammatory mediators that keep the internal environment stable enough for the system to operate. When even one of these categories is missing, the body encounters biochemical bottlenecks. You may be able to fall asleep from exhaustion, but you will not sustain the depth or rhythm of restorative sleep. Why sleep tips don't work and don't last? Given what we've covered about sleep's biochemical requirements, the limitations of popular advice become clear. Many sleep strategies fail to produce meaningful change from the start. For those who do see initial improvement, the progress rarely sticks. You might improve your bedtime routine, only to find yourself lying awake for 45 minutes despite feeling tired. You might manage to fall asleep, but wake multiple times during the night without a clear reason. Or you may sleep a full 8 hours yet wake up unrefreshed. This cycle repeats because behavioral strategies require the body to have adequate neurotransmitters, hormones, and regulatory compounds to respond. Without the raw materials and cofactors in place, sleep recovery hits a hard biological ceiling, whether that's immediate failure or eventual fade-out. No amount of breath work, light-blocking glasses, or timing tactics can compensate if the raw chemistry is constrained. Why many individuals try to fix sleep in the wrong order. Sleep improvement typically starts with habits, environment, and schedule optimization. And while these elements do matter for sleep recovery, they cannot create results if the body's internal chemistry is not equipped to follow through. This is why so many individuals end up frustrated. They are addressing the wrong layer first. Addressing the chemical foundation does not guarantee every sleep issue disappears immediately. But what it does guarantee is that no other strategy can reach its potential until this layer is addressed. It is the prerequisite for stability, depth, and resilience. This is the layer most people never consider. And for many, it becomes the breakthrough element when nothing else has worked. If this episode was helpful, consider liking and subscribing so you'll be notified when new ones go live. And if you'd like to help more people move past 3 a.m. wake-ups, share this episode with someone who's been struggling to stay asleep. To learn more about Sleep OS, my flagship system built to help you sleep through the night, even when good sleep hygiene hasn't worked, visit thelongevityvault.com. The link's in the show notes.